Welcome. My name is Rob Rogers. I am the Head of Construction Maintenance Environment for the Broads Authority, operating here in Norfolk in the UK. The Broads Authority has three main purposes. Our purposes are to manage, enhance and maintain, and also preserve the navigation for the Broads Authority's National Park. My presentation today is on how we implement the EU Water Framework Directive objectives within the National Park and within the Broadland River catchment. My presentation is on the implementation of the EU Water Framework Directive within Broadland River catchment. The presentation will try to present to you how we identify water framework challenges, we'll identify the catchment area, highlight sources of failure, explain actions, describe even more actions, identify Broads Authority specific actions, and hopefully leave you with a positive message of what we're trying to do here in Norfolk. So the first thing is the main issue. We need to improve the quality of our rivers, streams, lakes, estuaries, coastal waters and groundwaters. The reason why is because only 27% of English water bodies currently classified as having a good status under the EU Water Framework Directive. The benefits for these are wide, but mainly they include safeguarding jobs, improving natural habitats, improving ecosystems, and the ecology of the area. So how do we do this? Well, in 2002, the EU Directive 2000/60/EC established the framework for community action in the field water policy, or as we know it better, the Water Framework Policy, also known as WFD. In the United Kingdom, the WFD is delivered through what is called the River Basement Management Plan. There is one plan for each district. There are 11 river basin districts within England and Wales, and the one that we're in is Anglia, and that is here signified by the pointer. In the heart of this catchment is the historic city of Norwich. You can just see it here on the map. And also the Broads National Park, which is a tiny area of wetland situated around about here. As you can see, we're influenced by the coast, the North Sea, and also the large catchment which flows into Norwich and around the surrounding area. This map shows you the catchment. Its tidal limits, major settlements, roads and rivers, all impacting upon the catchment onto the Broads and the rivers and shallow lake system. It also shows the location of the Anglian River Basin and the geographical closeness of the Broads National Park to the North Sea. So the North Sea is here, and the Broads National Park encompasses the Thurn, the Bure, the Yare and the Waveney, including the River Chet, and also up into the upper reaches of Norwich. The rivers within the Broads are all tidal, and with surge tides event happening at a higher frequency, salt incursion into the freshwater system is increasing. The freshwater mixing with salt is creating a brackish habitat in some Broads. Fish refuge areas have been created, and some agencies are trying and talking about the construction of tidal barriers. But high economical costs and blocking of the navigation are a few of the major stumbling blocks preventing this ambitious project moving forward. The Anglian catchment is low-lying. Its highest elevation is to the northwest, with much of the east, which is here in this blue, being below sea level. So this area here is roughly -3 meters below sea level. This is the North Sea, and this is the low-lying land on the east coast. Rainfall in this area is relatively low, although recent climate change has meant periods of very heavy rainfall. The geology of the area to the west is crag, gravel, sand, and a silty mix. Then to the east, we have more chalks and peaty soil, and particularly the Broads area, which was in a river valley, in fact is shallow lakes made up of peat diggings. So in the ancient Britain, peat was dug for building material and for fuel, and those shallow lakes were formed when sea and water, fresh water, came in and flooded them. So as you can see, to the west, we're looking at 100 meters above sea level in some areas, but as we move to the east, we have a much lower and a -3. And with the North Sea being held back by large sandy dunes, there is a great deal of chance that water can punch through and cause flooding of what is a freshwater system. Our water environment is in a precarious state. This map shows you the rivers within the catchment area for the Anglian region. Despite much investment and significant improvements in water quality, less nutrient pollution, and over the past 30 years, significant water quality efforts have been made, our rivers are still showing moderate to poor. The Water Framework Directive in 2015 target for Broadland is 9% of river bodies and 28% of lakes to achieve good status. Currently, we are failing that target. The Broads is low-lying and located at the bottom of the catchment, so it's affected by upstream events as well as tidal surges from the North Sea. This slide here shows you basically the main problems and challenges facing us in our water framework objectives. Physical modifications being one of the highest, but pollution from rural areas, particularly farming, pollution from wastewater, towns and cities and transport also leach drains into the systems, changes to the natural flow, so this is man's effort to hold water or to release water quickly, and negative effects of non-native species all affect the water bodies within our catchment. So this is now a series of slides which tries to give a flavour of the actions that not just the Broads Authority are taking, but the Broadland Catchment Partnership. So to change the status of our rivers, we have implemented a number of actions. The first one, the River Basement Management Plan, published by the Environment Agency, outlines the work that a range of organisations is undertaking to assist in improving Water Framework Directive objectives. We also have the Water Company Business Plan. The Anglian catchment all falls within one sewage treatment water company, Anglian Water. Its action plan will maintain and improve sewage systems with the aim of further reducing nutrient release on land and into the water. And then finally, there's a Broads Authority. We have a 5-year strategic management plan, which is now coming up for its renewal in 2016, where climate change, sustainable use of the rivers and Broads are some of the issues tackled. It also includes actions for a range of organisations, community groups, and non-government organisations, all based on partnership working and sharing resources. Free action is never enough, so we've developed further actions. Land management. Several agronomists and land advisors work across the catchment, particularly assisting farmers to comply with good agricultural and environmental conditions, which is the GAEC, designed to strengthen EU legislation. We also have catchment-sensitive farming. This is a partnership between Natural England, the government advisory body, and Environment Agency. They're working to reduce pollution from agriculture. It delivers practical solution and targeted solutions to a whole catchment area, Rather than just focusing on individual farms, they try and apply the rules across the actual catchment area as a whole. And then finally, there's the environmental stewardship. This uses central government funding to pay landowners to preserve or improve landscape, wildlife and access. I thought it'd be helpful to actually talk a little bit about the Broads Authority and what specific actions that we have. So the first one there is river and broad maintenance dredging. The Broads Authority removes over 50,000 cubic meters of sediment from the rivers and broads every year. We look after 124 miles of navigatable waters, which spans across Norfolk and into Suffolk. In 2008, we launched the non-native invasive species protocols. This is to promote prevention, control, eradication of alien and invasive species. Partners collate and monitor data on the distribution and spread of invasive species, help control and develop eradication programs. And we also have the fish barrier plan. Over 150 fish barriers have been assessed and removed or bypassed, making it easy for eels, which have particularly suffered from decline since 1990. And under the eels regulations, any water intake has to be screened and structures made passable, particularly for this endangered fish. So in conclusion, management of land and water has evolved in a piecemeal fashion over the centuries and occurs in various sectors with regional, county and district boundaries that do not reflect the natural boundaries of a catchment. In some circumstances, the planning of improvements of the water ecosystem has failed to make use of the knowledge of those who live and work in the catchment. To sustain long-term solutions linking rural development, flood risk management and environmental stewardship funding around hydrological boundaries, in my opinion, required. By working together, we can make the necessary leaps and bounds needed to improve the environment, provide benefits to society, and strengthen the local economy. Thank you for listening. I trust that has been informative, if not a little brief. And I'm very happy for you to post any questions to me on anything in the Water Framework Directive or the further works or the wider works that the Broad Authority actually carries out. Thank you very much.